carvings were almost gone, but when he rubbed a clod of dirt over the carving to kind of see what the name was, it was Joel Bell, his great-great-grandfather. And he said that he'd been looking for that particular family grave for close to 20 years. Carney Bell also relates the story of the night he was at home, at his mother's home in Springfield, about 15 miles from Adams. He said, I was sitting in a chair, reading a book, when one of the neighbors called me to tell me that Channel 5 television from Nashville was broadcasting a story about the Bell Witch, he said. He turned on the television, sat in the living room, but all he got when he went to Channel 5 was kind of static, right? He kind of got that staticky stuff. He tried a couple other television sets in the house, but could not get them to work. Just sound, except for commercials. The commercials came in beautifully, but every time the station went back to the story, it would not work. So one of the landmarks from the heyday of the Bell Witch remains at the Old Bell Farm, and that is the cave near the bank of the Red River, which was used as a storage place in John Bell's day. Many of the 20th century phenomena have taken place around the cave, more so than the original house, which leads people to believe that maybe the entity is actually from the cave or lives in the cave. Many visitors to the cave have reported seeing a dark-haired woman that lives in that cave. Other visitors to the cave have heard sounds very similar to the original haunting of the Bell House. The chains, the scrapes, kind of sort of all the normal stuff that you would expect to hear, right? Kind of the stuff like we talked about at the beginning. Others have heard footsteps. One boy even had his hat snatched from his head and deposited on a ledge 30 feet above him. In 1977, 5 soldiers from nearby Fort Campbell, Kentucky, were visiting the cave. One of them was sitting on a rock and telling the others he didn't believe in such things, when suddenly an invisible force appeared to grab him and squeeze him. They watched this happen, and then they seen him pinned down. He began calling for help, saying as if it were something was sitting on his chest and squeezing the breath out of him. So the Bell Witch hauntings continue to this day. You can see many movies about the Bell Witch. There are lots of things on television. One of our favorite shows, Ghost Adventures, they have done some stuff there in Adams. They've done some stuff in the cave. I would encourage you to go check that out. There's a couple other strange occurrences there. They still see strange floating lights around the Old Bell Farm. Some have chased those lights and then they vanish and reappear farther away. There's also the figure of a little girl that occasionally materializes along Highway 41 there that borders the Old Bell Farm. More than one unsuspecting motorist has been sure that they've struck a little girl, and then they go back and it was nothing. But the story of the Bell Witch has reached the status of folklore all across the country and almost all across the world, but especially in Tennessee and especially in the South. Around Adams, Tennessee, the witch is much more than just some musty old legend, though. Kate still has an almost tangible presence in the area, and whenever something is out of the ordinary, whenever something strange happens, whenever something really fucking scary happens, you're likely to get a response from one of the residents that, hey, Kate probably did it. Have you had a really fucking scary experience? Have you seen a ghost? Have you been on a macabre adventure? Would you like to share it on air? Would you like for us to tell that story? Or you just have something horrid that you would like for us to talk about? Head over to PaleHorseMediaCo.com. Use the contact form to let us know all about it. Make sure that you subscribe. New episodes come out every single Friday. We look forward to continuing this creepy, crawly, morbid, macabre, and grotesque adventure with you, the listener. We love you, and we will see you soon. Thank you for joining us today on our trip into the dark. We hope that you join us again next week for all things horror, all things macabre, all things grotesque, here on Really Fucking